Good evening. My name is Jenn Kanze-Eaton, and I am a member of the Worship and Music Committee. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. And it is my pleasure to welcome you to First Parish of Plymouth's Plymouth Congregation's Candlelight Christmas Eve service this evening. As you saw, some people know that we were going to have luminarias outside of the meeting house, but due to the inclement weather, we decided that that was probably not the best idea. If you haven't done so already, please have a candle and a means to light it ready at the end of the evening. As the Christmas Eve service is meant to be a time of reflection as we prepare to celebrate this holiday, we have intentionally muted everyone and disabled the chat function in Zoom. And just a reminder, we will not have social time afterwards. Our technical director is Paul Melville. Whoever you are, wherever you're from, whatever you believe, whomever you love, wherever you are on your journey, come walk with us this hour. Let us walk together this hour. Christmas has no right to burst upon us suddenly and loudly from afar, lighting up right where we are with nylon trees and a long like plastic star. It is a lonely road to Bethlehem that must be walked slowly and untalked, where no bright light or angel song intrudes ahead of cue to wrongly claim arrival of the dawn before the night is walked by each of us on through. We will be singing "O Come All Ye Faithful." The words will be up on our screen.
Good morning. Good morning. Here I am thinking it's a regular Sunday service. I apologize. Good evening, everyone. I'm the Reverend Arthur Lavoie. I'm delighted to be here with you this evening. Invite you to join in the words of our chalice lighting that are on your screen. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in freedom, to speak the truth in love, and to help one another. This reading comes from the Gospel of Luke. And it came to pass in those days that there went out a decree from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be taxed. And this taxing was first made when Cyrenius was governor of Syria. And all went to be taxed, everyone into his own city. And Joseph also went up from Galilee, out of the city of Nazareth, into Judea, unto the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and lineage of David, to be taxed with Mary, his espoused wife, being great with child. And so it was that while they were there, the days were accomplished that she should be delivered. And she brought forth her firstborn son, and wrapped him in swaddling clothes, and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them at the inn. And there was in that same country shepherds abiding in the field, keeping watch over their flocks by night. And lo, the angel of the Lord came upon them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were afraid. And the angel said unto them, Fear not, for behold, I bring you tidings of great joy, which shall be to all people. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, who is Christ the Lord. And this shall be a sign unto you. You shall find the babe wrapped in swaddling clothes, lying in a manger. And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly host, praising God and singing, Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill toward all.
It is the night of our dear Little Girl's Christmas by Winifred Lincoln. It was Christmas Eve, and Little Girl had just hung up her stocking by the fire, right where it would be all ready for Santa when he slipped down the chimney. She knew he was coming because, well, it was Christmas Eve, and because he always came to leave gifts for her on Christmas Eve. She knew. She had seen his pictures everywhere downtown that afternoon. She knew this was the night. Still, she wasn't just satisfied. Way down in her heart, she had a little concern. You see, when you've never really truly seen a person with your own very own eyes, it's hard to feel as if you've exactly can believe in them. Even though that person always has left beautiful gifts for you every time he's come, do you really know for sure? Oh, he'll come, said the little girl. I just know he will be here before morning. But somehow I wish. Well, what do you wish? Said a tiny voice close by her, so close that the little girl fairly jumped when she heard it. Why, I wish I could see Santa for myself. I'd just like to go and see his house and his workshop and ride in his sleigh and say hello to Mrs. Claus. 'Twould be such fun, and then I'd know for sure. Well, why don't you go then? Said the tiny voice. It's easy enough. Just try on these shoes and take this light in your hand, and you'll find your way all right. So Little Girl looked down to the hearth, and there were two cunning little shoes side by side, and a little spark of light close to them, just as if they were all made out of one of the glowing coals of the wood fire. Such cunning shoes as they were, the little girl could hardly wait to put them on her feet. They looked as if they were too small, but they weren't. They fitted exactly right. And just as the little girl had put them both on and had taken the light in her hand, along came a little breath of wind, and away she went up the chimney, along with every other spark, and just past the soot fairies and out into the open air, where Jack Frost and the starbeams were all busy at work waiting for her. Away went Little Girl, two shoes, bright light and all, higher and higher until she looked like a wee bit of a star in the sky. It was the funniest thing, but she seemed to know the way perfectly and didn't have to stop to make inquiries anywhere. You see, it was a straight road all the way, and when one doesn't have to think about turning to the right or to the left, it makes things very much easier. Pretty soon, Little Girl noticed there was a bright light all around her. Oh, a very bright light. And right away, something down in her heart began to make her feel very happy indeed. She didn't know that the Christmas spirits and the little Christmas fairies were all around her, and even right inside of her, but she couldn't see a single one of them, even though her eyes were very bright and wide open. But it was just it, and the girl felt as if she had wanted to laugh and sing and be glad because of whatever this spark was. It made her remember the sick boy who lived next door, and she said to herself that she would carry him one of her prettiest picture books in the morning if that would make him smile. Maybe she should bring this spark of light instead. By and by, the bright light all around her had grown very, very much brighter, and the little girl saw a path right in front of her, all straight and trim, leading up to a hill, and a big house, and even more windows than she'd ever seen in her life. When she had gone just a bit nearer, she saw candles in every window, red and green and yellow ones. Just as she neared the steps, and before she could possibly have had time to ring the bell, the door opened. Opened of itself as wide as it could be, and there stood not Santa by himself. Don't think that. A funny little man with splendid little legs and a roly-poly stomach who shook every now and then when he laughed. Well, in went the little girl, holding fast to the little man's hand, and when she really was inside, she saw the jolliest, reddest fire glowing and snapping, and there were little men and their brothers and their sisters all running around. All around her were bundles and boxes and piles of toys and games, and the little girl knew that these were all really waiting to be loaded onto Santa's sleigh. So the little girl picked up some bundles and skipped along and helped them load, for she wanted to help a bit herself. All of a sudden, there was a new spark, and straight away she knew that Santa himself was coming. The little girl's heart went pitter-pat for a minute while she wondered if Santa would notice her, but she had no way to know. All of a sudden, bless my soul, what's this? Where did you come from? Very shyly, she said, I'm a little girl and I want so much to see you and to be with you and to know that you're real. Ho, ho, said Santa. And here you are, and here I am, and together we are going to make Christmas happen. The little elves helped load the rest of the sleigh. Santa jumped in. The little girl jumped in next to him. And as they headed out into the black sky, the little girl looked and smiled and said, I believe.
I wish for you a complicated Christmas. Not the Christmases of simple joys and warm memories that we feel obligated to strive for, but a season in which there is room for complexities that occur during this time. A season of complicated memories, happiness and pain, of comfort and loss, disappointment and fulfillment. A season of gifts that some that remind us of the silliness and excess of which we are also subject. A season of joy that also has room for sadness, because gladness and sorrow take place together. A season of busyness that also grants us time to pause. A season of bustling that also allows time for quiet. A season of celebrations that also encourages time for reflection. A season of stories and songs about which we have complicated feelings. Some fill us with the warmth of nostalgia. Some make us cringe with discomfort. And some bring messages of truth and hope that we still yearn to hear. A season of light that brings us to see more intensely the shadows of our lives. A season of hope that underscores how far we still must travel to realize those dreams. It is in this world of complicated feelings and memories that a star appears and shines above, drawing us forward with promises of peace and goodwill, offering glimpses of the path that still lays ahead.
What child is this who lay to rest on Mary's lap is sleeping, whom angels greet with anthems sweet, while shepherds watch are keeping? This is Christ the King, whom shepherds guard and angels sing. Haste, haste to bring him God, the babe, the Son of Mary. So bring him incense, gold, and myrrh. Come, peasant king, to own him, the King of kings, salvation brings. Let loving hearts enthrone him. Raise, raise the song on high. The Virgin sings her lullaby. Joy, joy, for Christ is born, the babe, the Son of Mary.
What child is this? By the Reverend Lynn Unger. What child is this? Inquires the carol. and so might well could we. What child asleep on lap or shoulder is occasion for new stars and bells ringing, lights and windows and the gleam of gifts? What child tender-skinned and head-heavy could hold up the name God with us? What child, we sing, heaping our gathered longings on that tiny head, solace and surprise, hope and imagination, all the gifts we would not have confessed to seeking underneath the tree. What child is this who before the thought of words brings the promise of new life, a world tipped toward hope? Of course, for all the loveliness of that old verse, the query falls just off the mark. Listen, the stars continue to sing in celebration. Why not ask, what child isn't this? And let each new face bring its own simple salvation. Please join in singing Within the Shining of a Star.
Within the shining of a star, we catch a glimpse of who we are. In every infant born, we see the hope of our nativity. The miracle of each new birth can shake and sing this stony earth. Triumphantly, the newborn's cry strikes echoes from the waiting sky.
The Holy Family. Writing of the Holy Family, Mary, Joseph, and the baby Jesus, Wendell Berry once asked what would happen if we ourselves, opening a stall, might find them breathing there. I wonder what would happen for us if we did. If we, still rubbing the sleep from our eyes, with our long daily list of tasks already running through our minds, suddenly stumbled on the Holy Family. The Holy Family right there in front of us, huddled together against the cold, a tiny baby nestled in the arms of his parents. What would it mean for us to be startled away from our distracted thoughts? Pulled suddenly into the intense needs of the moment, warm blankets, soft pillows, hot food. To understand immediately, we would have to make a choice. Set aside the list of tasks, the laundry, child's play date, the stack of papers teetering on the desk, or set this aside. This what? This miracle, this wonder, this invitation into another life? Because we could, of course, set it aside. It wouldn't be hard, or at least not complicated. We just turn and walk away, assuring ourselves that someone else would be along to help. After all, the family was right there. We practically fell on them, for goodness sake. And honestly, they could be a little more considerate. Now that we think about it, a bit more out of the way instead of acting so entitled, blocking the path of people who are responsible enough to take care of themselves and their own children. Yeah, someone else will be along soon. Not that this family particularly deserves help. We could set that aside. Or we could set aside the tasks. We could allow ourselves to be pulled into the urgency of the moment and then pulled even further into the world sanctified by joy, by wonder, by the presence of holiness. We could allow ourselves to be pulled into that sanctified world with its new mother, luminous and weary from the work of giving birth, with its father, determined and probably a little afraid, and its babe, intoxicated with the scent of new life, his mouth already opening in hunger. We could choose that world. We could. I wonder what would it mean for us if we did? I ask only because I could swear to you that if I had been seeing the Holy Family everywhere, weary mothers, frightened fathers, and hungry children everywhere, and maybe you've been seeing them too, which would mean that now is the time we have to choose. Do we step around those holy ones on our way to check off our tasks one by one, or do we step into that other life with its pressing demands and its astonishing glory, with its refusal to allow us to stumble backwards towards safety and comfort and self-focus? I only ask because I think they're out there right now. The mothers, the fathers, the children. They're out there. And they may be here, waiting for us to choose them, waiting for us to feed the hungry, to comfort the weary, and strengthen the frightened, to stand with the weak. I think they're waiting for us now, right now, to see if we will choose rightly. I wonder what it would mean for us if we did.
Bye bye, Luli.
Christmas asks us to make a choice. We could see the Christmas story, the Christmas legend through the rose-colored lenses with all of these characters heralding the birth of the baby Jesus. Oh, isn't that sweet, we could say, and get back to our regular lives. Or we can see these bone-weary travelers who were forced to make a journey that put Mary's life in danger, being so far along in her pregnancy. We can see a poor family unable to find a place to stay, having to camp out in a shed that sheltered animals. I read Luke's version of the Nativity a few minutes ago. In Matthew's version, the other gospel that mentions Jesus' birth, they then have to flee to Egypt to avoid the wrath of King Herod, who was out to get this newborn king. So we have to choose. My thoughts today are with the broken and nearly destitute families, hiding out, taking refuge, needing support. You know, I think we have all been there at some point in our lives. I think we've all had times when financial or emotional or spiritual struggles and burdens have put us on our own journey, where we have had to seek refuge in places or in ways that were not familiar to us. And we can all probably, hopefully, remember the people who were our angels, the light of our stars, our own simple shepherd-like folks who helped and guided us when we needed it. 2020, as we all know, has been incredibly challenging and much more difficult than I could have ever imagined. As we approach this holiday season, there's not a lot of comfort and joy for many. Most of us have had to rethink our holiday traditions and our usual plans. We won't be seeing many of the people that we often see this time of year. This has definitely been a more complicated Christmas. And even though there are vaccines in distribution, the impact of this virus on people's lives is far from over. Many more families will be affected either by the disease or by the loss of a loved one. Jobs that have been hardest hit in the hospitality, travel, entertainment, and food service industries, to name a few, will take so much longer to recover. There will be many struggling, perhaps destitute people, many holy families who will need refuge and support. Some of us might even be among them. And we must choose. Will we rise to our higher natures? Will we answer the call of the angels who sing of peace on earth and goodwill to our fellow human beings? Will we celebrate and support families in whatever configuration they appear to us? Or will we go on our merry way, expecting someone else to take care of them? Now, my words might be a little more intense and heavy than you were expecting this Christmas Eve. But I do have to tell you that whenever I have gone out of my way to bring comfort and joy to others, I have felt the most amazing sense of peace and fulfillment. I am convinced that we can only experience the magic and wonder of Christmas by bringing it to others. It is only by being the stars that light the way in the darkness, those that shepherd and care for others, and the wise ones who bring strength, justice, and equity to those that are different. It is when we do these things that we can truly hear the angels' voices singing of peace on earth and goodwill towards all. Amen. Merry Christmas. Blessed be.
Stille Nacht, heilige Nacht, alles schläft, einsam wacht, nur das traute hochheilige Paar. Der Knabe im lockigen Haar, schlaf in himmlische Ruhe, schlaf in himmlische Ruhe.
On December 24th, 1818, the curate of a parish in Obendorf, Austria, Joseph Mohr, gave a poem he had written to a friend of his, Franz Gruber, who was also the choir master and organist in that church. He asked Mr. Gruber if he would write music for his poem, and that he might write it for 2 solo voices and guitar accompaniment, because the organ being broken, he desperately wanted music to be part of their Christmas Eve service. Mr. Gruber wrote the melody to a song which has become the most beloved of all Christmas carols, Stille Nacht, in English, Silent Night. Schlaf in himmlischer Ruhe, sleep in heavenly peace. We will now begin our annual Christmas Eve candle lighting ritual. First, we ask everyone to put their computers on gallery view so that you can see each other. Then light your candles and shut off all or most of the lights in the room you are in. After we sing Silent Night, Reverend Art will do the benediction and give instructions to blow out the candles.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round yon Virgin Mother and Child, holy infant, so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace, Lord, at thy birth. Jesus, Lord, at thy birth.
Before I offer the benediction, I want to thank everyone for being here today and for sharing this moment with us at First Parish in Plymouth. I especially want to thank Sandy and Paul, Deb, all the people, Jenn, all the people who submitted musical reflections, and everyone who was involved to make this service go as beautifully and smoothly as it did. After I finish the benediction, we will move directly into Angels We Have Heard on High, and that will conclude our service this evening. I hope everyone has a joyful and blessed and safe Christmas. The benediction comes from the words of John Corrado. We need not be a blessed virgin or even a woman to give birth to a Christ child. The Christ, the God become human, is within each of us. Each of us at every moment is pregnant with life that can give and forgive, heal and bless, bring new life into the world. The miracle of hope made human lies in each human heart, flickering and fleeting with each heartbeat, waiting to be delivered by decision and desire to be one with all. Every moment comes to us pregnant with the urging of the holy, only to pass into eternity and then to remain forever what we have made of it. In silence, listen to your heart, its highest hungry urging. Feel the stirring. Know the channel for the holy that you are. I invite us all to take a moment and, looking into our candle flame, to make a wish for someone that you know that might need some extra support this holiday season. Make a wish for yourselves and those you are missing this Christmas that you won't be able to see. And I invite us all to raise our flames as we share our wishes and spread them with the world. And then on a count of 3, we will blow out our candles together. I want to thank everyone who also made luminaries. As you can see, the weather was too bad for them to be outside, and they are all in front of me on this table before the podium. So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3.